What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Crypto podcast, your place for immersive, essential, and evergreen strategies for the novice cryptocurrency investor. How you doing? I'm one half of your host, Boi Crypto. I have here with me, as always, my friend and co-host, Crypto Ewok. We've got a great show for you tonight. You might think to yourself, why? There hasn't been a lot of news. There isn't a lot of stuff crashing and burning in crypto anymore. Things are going up a little bit. I don't know what you could possibly be talking about. Well, we always kind of put our heads together and come up with something really good to talk about on the pod. We've got a lot to talk about tonight, including the secret sauce for DCAing and how you could really have, if you've been paying attention over the last few years, and if you continue to pay attention to this space over the next couple of years, really do well for yourself. So welcome in, everybody. If you are in the chat on either one of our channels, please do hit the like, hit the sub if you're enjoying the content. We very much appreciate it. And get active in the chat as well. We got a poll in there that we're going to get to in a little bit that I am flabbergasted by. Ewok, not so much. But yeah, vote on that poll. For those of you listening later on, the poll is, what is your crypto investing time horizon? The three choices are 2 to 3 years, 4 to 8 years, or 8+ years. I asked it a little bit ago on my YouTube channel, and we'll get into that here soon. But Ewok, how are you this evening? How are you feeling about the market? How are things in general?
Feeling good. Happy hump day, man. Lots of interesting stuff. Like you said, there's not anything really crashing and burning right now, but there's a lot going on if you're paying attention in the world and in the news and in crypto especially.
Very true. We will have, there is a lot going on in the world. Particularly, I know a lot of people are up in arms about some certain political dealings here that we've had over the course of the last week that are definitely entertaining. I mean, that's kind of what we do here in the United States. But maybe we'll get into that later a little bit. Who knows? Depends on where the winds blow, I guess. But to start things off tonight, I guess, I mean, we'll kind of do our quick market synopsis. And I mean real quick tonight because we have some meaty stuff to get into, but just taking a look at where BTC and the major coins we look at are at the moment. BTC still long and strong, man. 28.2K right now. Really just has barely dipped below there in the last few days. Seems to be kind of maybe coiling up around this area for some kind of move here soon. Once again, I say it every single week on this pod, but Ethereum just absolutely insane. Up over 1,900 now, showing, I mean, even more strength, I think, than Bitcoin. And if it would flip 2K this time around, I would say maybe watch out. And Hex hanging out right there, right around 8 cents. I like this consolidation we've had around that area here over the last week or so. So what do you make of it, Ewok? I mean, I know like long term since, throughout 2022 until now, we talked about our directions we thought this market was going in. We both kind of thought we'd see lows around November. We did. We then kind of both called for them again in January. Did not happen. And I've seen enough reason to obviously flip bullish in terms of being in a new cycle now. I mean, we've been closing for so long over 25 and 28K, not maybe for so long, but anyway, for 25K. But how are you feeling about the market at large, and especially with some of the extra, macroeconomic things we could have a little bit later this year?
Overall, bullish. I still think there could be a capitulation. I still think there could be a quick pullback. The markets tend to do that every cycle. It will test somewhere in those levels. I still think it's going to be anywhere between 15 and 20,000. So it could be a fairly strong, quick pullback to just kind of see if the bottom is really where it thinks it needs to be. Again, and it really depends on how many retail large investors are ready to buy at that point. But I do still see a capitulation event. I sent you a video a little bit earlier, and it was really funny because we've been talking about this, or I have anyway. A lot of people, think that it's over, we're done, we're not going back to those levels at all. And I don't remember the stream, but I sent you a message with Richard talking about the very same thing this time last cycle. And I think we're pretty much in that same spot. And it, sure enough, it did. It did pull back quickly. And then it kind of took off. And that was the beginning of the bull market. Now, it chopped around a little bit like it's doing before, like it's doing right now, last time. So, but there's a lot of bullish things for crypto that are happening. The US dollar is kind of up in the air right now with what's going on. You have all the BRICS countries that are talking about trying to do away with US currency and do their own, which, we'll see how successful that is, because most of their current
Right.
garbage too. When you really dig down into what their currency is, it's not strong enough to be a global currency. So, I still think we have that going for us as far as the US dollar goes. But there's a lot, and because people just are not sure about the banks, about a lot of things right now, although they're making it tough to get into crypto. So if you've got some money on the side and you want to get it in, you might have to do it slowly. So I would get started at least getting it into the system. If you're thinking about it and not sure, you can get it out later if you need to. But um, I think a lot of people, and I haven't checked my limit, but I know DCC said his Coinbase daily limit went from $100,000 down to $5,000 a day that
Whoa.
he was allowed to enter into the system with. So they've really cut the maximums, down
The
for a lot of
threshold.
people. Yeah, the threshold. So just keep that in mind. If you've got a lot of capital sitting on the side and you're, thinking about getting it into the system, you might have to do it a little bit slower than what you thought. So yeah, but otherwise bullish, man. Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely interesting. You prompted me to just check mine. Mine is showing 100,000 right now.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Who knows? But your point stands. I mean, the point definitely stands that, we've heard about Operation Choke Point 2.0.
Hmm.
Back in the day, for anybody that was familiar, whether you were just in the sports betting industry or more so, people talk about Black Monday with Poker Stars and a lot of the online poker stuff. The US used to really rage against that stuff, as dumb as that is, but they, didn't want people to be doing that. So they choke pointed your entries to, dealing with those different platforms. And yeah, we're seeing a little bit of it with crypto now. We've got the absolutely diabolically insane Elizabeth Warren I actually thought that thing last week was a meme. I didn't mean to derail us into this, but I don't know if you did too, Ewok. But that image of her against like a light blue background that said like, I am oh shit, I am
Assembling
assembling a crypto, an
army.
anti-crypto army. It was so dumb sounding. I thought somebody made it up. I thought it was a meme. Now, clearly, I know she's like anti-crypto for whatever reason. She wants her precious dollars and for everybody else to eat the bugs. But I, it just seemed so dumb. I thought it was fake. Turns out it was part of a real slide one of her underlings made.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what the hell, man? Like,
Yeah.
how
I don't know.
dumb?
Did you catch the interview that she was doing where she was talking about Bitcoin, and she was talking about the US dollar, and how Bitcoin is a terrible idea because it's really not backed by anything other than belief.
Man.
But yet the US dollar is backed by government. And
Mhm.
that's, I just found that pretty funny and kind of ironic, actually, since our dollar is not backed by anything either. And, they can print as much of it as they want. So, yeah, and spend as much as they want. That's the bigger part of it. Not only printing what they want, but they can just spend, unlimited amounts, and then print some more. So,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty funny.
Well, can you blame her? I mean, Liz is just pumping her own bags. She's, according
Well,
to the wiki, she's got $67 million on a 200 and like a $250,000 salary.
yeah,
I saw a stat the other day. She would have to save 100% of that income for like 200 and some years
to get that
to
much
have
money.
that money. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
crazy.
Maybe she bought like the Bitcoin bottom in like 2000, like the early days.
Or maybe a
So
little insider trading.
maybe
Yeah,
I'm not speculating there, but yeah, certainly weird times, and we've talked about some of the federal government stuff, and Tom Emmer in Minnesota doing what he can regarding crypto, probably the most outspoken member of Congress and the Republican majority whip on that. But it's going to be an interesting year, I think, for like crypto regulation. I don't think any kind of regulation, even remotely, is coming at all this year. But I mean,
No.
it's going to, like everything, it's going to be a bunch of red tape bullshit for years on end. And
Yep.
they'll screw something up, even worse than they, should have. But I mean, that's still why, though. I mean, like, that's part of the lesson, I think, for everybody, that like right now, you and I obviously know that the gains in Bitcoin are not the kind of gains that we're still looking for, and that it's, decreasing and, what it's going to do each cycle, obviously, diminishing returns.
Especially for the people that answered your poll. If they only have 2
Yes,
years, you know what I mean?
exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
which I want to cover that here in a bit after we get off this. But yeah, the I forget where I was going with that. Like
Sorry.
no, just the shit. I forget where I was going with it. But essentially just
Well,
that,
Bitcoin's not hit what it was doing is what you were talking about.
yeah, that we're not obviously interested in that. But okay. So with the crypto market at large, though, for people that are like the Elizabeth Warrens of the world and boomers and stuff like that, um, this is when you want to be in crypto, prior to like certain kinds of regulation, when things seem unclear, scary, or something like that. That's when you want to get into an asset. Now, I mean, there's different levels of that risk. Like, you and I are obviously fine with risk way higher and, volatility way higher than even Bitcoin offers. But for the old heads out there, that's still a risky market for them, that there's a
Yep.
lot of money to be made. So
Yeah, there sure is. And I don't recommend doing it. I know some of these people are still trying to play the Robin Hood game, um, because they're hearing about crypto and they're trying to get in that way.
you mean
Um,
Robinhood, like the app, the
yeah,
financial? Yeah, okay.
right. So, I mean, I guess if you're in kind of thing, but just be wary of apps like that, Robinhood and some of the others. Just keep in mind they're derivative trading. They're not really, you don't own the crypto. So if anybody wanted to just shut down Robinhood and take all the funds, they could do it, and you have no repercussions. So
Right.
just keep those things in mind. One of the things we've always preached was holding your own keys, maintaining your own wallet, and being self-sovereign with what you own. So like
Definitely.
to always touch on that point when we can.
Definitely. And yeah, Cash App, same thing. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to get onboarded into crypto now, but we are going to see, and to your point, Ewok, this year, next year, a lot of newcomers to this space, even more than we saw the last time around. And those points will need to be said. That stuff isn't crypto. I had a friend actually a few years ago in the last cycle that had no intention actually on investing in crypto. He was just buying Bitcoin to move it to an offshore betting site. And I forget where he went. Like, he didn't even consult with me. And back then it was kind of more, you know, everybody knew Coinbase, the exchanges, Binance. There weren't as many exchanges, obviously, and stuff. And he was like, "Hey, man, I don't know what happened. I went and I bought Bitcoin and I was going to send it to this betting site, and the money's just gone." And I was like, "Where did you go to buy it?" And he went to, I think he said he just went to like bitcoin.com, or I don't even know. I don't want to like disparage any domains out there, but he just assumed that he went to the right place. And all I'm
Right.
doing is giving you an example of what's probably going to happen to other new investors in this space. It's not as simple, not that it's overly hard, but it's not, like you just go to a kiosk or something like that, and that's the best way to buy
How
crypto.
long ago was
There,
that?
I want to say 2017 or somewhere around there.
He might want to look, because bitcoin.com, I believe, is Bitcoin Cash's website. So he might have bought Bitcoin Cash and not even realized it, and it might still be there.
I'm pretty sure it was an insignificant amount of money that he probably
Okay.
wouldn't care. Well,
Fair
I
enough.
don't know. Actually, I don't know how much Bitcoin was at the time, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, yeah, you're gonna have people making those mistakes, and we have to, make sure they understand that stuff. So hey, that's all to come. If you're still here watching this stuff right now, you likely have been in this space for a little while, because we're still in the boring times. But last Fed thing to cover real quick, Ewok, next week. Yeah, next Wednesday, we have the next CPI reading. on April the 12th. I don't know what the number will be. I don't know if it'll continue in the downwards direction or if it's even any remote reflection of what's really happening with inflation. But what do you kind of expect? I assume we just probably get, some more slight downside with it. Everybody ignores it and the market churns on. What do you what do you think? I don't really have any thoughts other than
I
that.
think it has very little effect on anything. So
Yeah.
not too concerned about it, not interested anymore. I'm kind of over it.
Same. I think that's how everybody feels. Yeah, everybody's
Yeah,
over that. Everybody's over the FOMC meetings and being tied to them every single week. It's a new year. It's literally a new season. We got springtime now. Positive vibes. Not that the season influences necessarily the market cycle, unless you're one of those woo-woo people, and you may be. So,
yeah.
I want to transition into this funny Twitter thing. So, if you guys are in the chat and enjoying the content, we got a lot more to come. Hit the like; we very much appreciate it. Elon doing his best troll job on Monday, and it's still there, and I
Still
love it.
there.
And you thought I was messing with you when I first sent it to you, but
I
Elon
did.
changed the Twitter logo to the Doge logo on Monday. I love it. I mean, if you're into crypto, you love it, right? I mean, I don't see a way that this isn't at least funny to you. But it honestly messed with me. And I'm sure it was the same thing for many people because I have a couple different Twitter profiles and I changed in between and I see this dog symbol and I'm like, what in the hell? I thought I don't know. I didn't know. I thought something went wrong. I thought my account got taken over. I didn't know what was going on.
Thought you were hacked.
Thought I was hacked, but no, just Elon messing with everybody, which is freaking awesome. Most users, I'm sure, don't even know what it is or didn't know what it was and are questioning it, and they're going to find out, obviously. Doge pumped some off of it, of course. A definite bull market type thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we're not at that stage, obviously, but Elon's Elon. So what did you make of this? Do you think is there a credence to, and I don't even know how much he said about this because I honestly don't even know how much I care. I guess I kind of do, but that he would be taking payments for being verified on Twitter and Doge and stuff like that, or crypto at least in some form. What do you make of it? Is Elon messing around? What's going on?
Well, he's messing around. There was I don't know if you caught it or not, the origin of this whole thing.
No,
Somebody, I forget when it was a couple years back, said you should buy Twitter and change the logo to the Doge.
I did see.
And he replied with done. Like it was a 2 or 3 year old tweet when he came back and he said done. And I thought that was pretty funny how this was way before he ever even owned it or anything. So
Yeah.
might have even been the hype of the last cycle. The last time he really talked about Doge was on Saturday Night Live, I think, when
Yeah.
that was exactly pretty much the top. And it went down from there. So just one of the people said, I have an idea for you. You should buy Twitter and then change the logo to the Doge dog. So when he replied with done, I saw where it was coming from. I knew what had happened at that point. And it wasn't long after you had sent it to me. I'm like, that's not real. What's going on? And then I did a little bit of digging and found that. I thought it was pretty cool. For somebody with a sense of humor, at least, he's not always so serious. So it's kind of good to see
definitely
that.
not. I never see him be serious, really.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I would say it was probably the top of the cycle if Saturday Night Live had mention of anything dealing with crypto on it, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, entertaining nonetheless. And hey, I don't know what to make of it. It's another funny little positive sign as we kind of get into this news cycle right now. So definitely cool. On the opposite end, not that this really impacts the market very much, but I just wanted to touch on it real quick because it was weird. It was out of nowhere. And this will lead to a little bit bigger of a discussion about these coin ranking sites because, we talk about them a lot. We talk about the coin market crap and the others and the censoring of Hex among other coins and the pushing up of ones that they financially benefit off of. But Nomics was frankly my go-to, not only because it kind of represented Hex correctly for a little while before they kind of rug pulled that idea, but I just like the layout of it. I like the way it looked, whatever. It just
Yeah.
happened to be the one that I gravitated to. And then yeah, just went to it the other day, and they have this website is being sunset, and it's just poof, gone. No announcement, no further explanation. Nomics is just totally gone. So I know you really hadn't been using it as a main go-to, and I actually really love the alternative you were telling me about. But what do you make of this? And I know you have some thoughts about these ranking sites kind of at large, and what your thoughts are on them overall as far as their censorship and some of the issues I talked about. So what do you think about all that?
Yeah, it's been an argument of the hexagons for quite a while. How we've been unfairly treated on many of them, as we know. CoinMarketCap still lists us at 201.
Yeah.
I have a feeling when Pulse Chain launches, it'll be at 202, just because of the sheer number of coins and the market cap. If it even hits a penny, it would be a $200 trillion market cap. I think maybe not by that point, but whatever. It would just be crazy. My thoughts on nomics, though, I almost have a feeling that they got bought out.
I agree. Yeah.
CZ might have bought them, or somebody with a lot of money uh, that didn't want them in the game anymore, and probably offered them a number they couldn't refuse. You know, so I've always kind of liked Coin Paprika. It's been my go-to because even nomics, as semi-accurate as they were with Hex, they still removed a large portion of the OA coins, but didn't
Yeah.
do the same for Satoshi's coins, even though everybody knows they're not in circulation. So when a company decides to do something like that, where they're not treating everything fairly across the board, kind of rubs me the wrong way. And not just because it was Hex, because it's still very biased of them to do that. And I think they were pressured at that point to remove some of it too, because we had gotten up to number 3 market cap coin. And
Exactly.
at that point was like, you got to remove some of that supply. They're getting way too close to even flipping Ethereum or Bitcoin. And if it had continued on the trajectory that it was on, it would have. So, like I said, I think they received some um, push from somebody else. And then I think maybe that same group of people ended up buying them out. So yeah, that's just my thought. But anyway, Coin Paprika is another one. And I don't know if you know this or not, but if you go to, and I'm going to share it with you, I'm going to share the screen actually.
Hmm.
Um, and bring it up here. If you go to howtopulse.com, they have a under the tools real market cap. So this is the actual real market cap,
Oh,
and there's no frills or anything. It is strictly the coin token, the circulation, and the last price, and that's really all it is. And it gives an all-time high. I mean, you can't even click on it. There's not anything that pops up. But this works. I mean, if you're just looking for rankings and where things are actually at, it's a good option. Like I said, you can't go in and pull charts and see what exchanges that it may be on or anything like that. But it can get you started with an accurate, you know, un. It's not messed with. It
hmm.
is the actual real market cap. So just thought I would bring that up to those who didn't know that it was there. But there's
I
some other
didn't
good information on howtopulse.com too. What were you saying?
I didn't, I'm gonna put it in the chat too, but yeah, that is awesome. I think I did see somebody tweet about it the other day, but I didn't remember the site. But
Yeah.
yeah, that is very cool. If you just Google how to pulse, you're gonna get results from the Mayo Clinic telling you how to take your pulse. You don't want to do
Yeah.
that, so just go to howtopulse.com.
be,
And
be,
yeah,
be
very sweet.
careful Googling that. You never know what you might get.
You never know. Yeah, you can never be too careful these days. But Hex, yeah, number 5, obviously on there.
Yeah.
And yeah, very cool.
But yeah, Coin
Well,
Paprika has been my go-to for that. The only thing they don't do accurately is the volume, because I don't think
mm,
they pull Uniswap's volume very well. So the only thing that they're really actually aggregating is the on-chain central exchanges. which there aren't many of. So
Right.
the volume, daily volume is pretty off. Um, but other than that, it is ranked by the way it should be.
Sweet. Well, I'm
Yeah.
definitely using this one on how to pulse. Yeah, that's very cool to have. And yeah, Nomics bites the dust, but hey, that stuff happens. When are you shaving your beard, Ewok? Andrew wants to
Well,
know.
Andrew, I've been saying that as soon as Pulse Chain launches, I'll shave it, but I'm kind of liking it and I'm getting used to it. So maybe I'll just trim it up a little bit. We'll see how it goes.
I'm not
That was
sure.
that was
Go
the
ahead.
original goal, though. Pulse Chain, it was a Pulse Chain beard. I wasn't going to shave it until Pulse Chain launched, and here we are, a year and a month later from the time I said that.
I'm frightened of what you would look like if you shaved it now. I don't remember what you actually look like. I've just come
Really?
to know this bearded. Yeah, I don't remember. Side note about that, and I don't even, as you anybody watching the stream can see, I like to keep kind of a you know close beard, but I always have a beard. But even shaving that off, it's so weird to look in the mirror afterwards. Like you just turn into a child. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm just not a fan of that. I don't think I've ever known you without a beard. You've always had a beard, I think, as long as
I've
I've known
always
you.
had facial hair. Just I kind of like you. I always kept it, fairly trimmed down.
Yeah,
But
high and
but
tight.
high and tight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see when the pulse beard goes away. We'll get to that here in a moment too. But I just wanted to touch on this quick before we get into the real nitty gritty. But something that I've just been thinking about a lot, and I actually have a video coming out about it this weekend. But and I want to ask you about your experience in the past Ewok, and past market cycles. But just to alert as we do talk about new people entering this market over the next 2 years, um, people into what looks like a great coin to get into, a great token to get into that everybody is shilling on YouTube, and whether it's I don't even remember his name, Ben Armstrong, whatever, Bit Boy. I
BitBoy,
couldn't
yeah,
remember somehow couldn't remember that. But yeah, him and whatever. I don't even care. Like all the other shillers and influencers and stuff like that. There's going to be like very common tokens that they all have in their portfolio. And one of them right now that I am constantly seeing stuff about Arbitrum all over the place. Like, and I know it's like optimism, it's another layer two that's about Ethereum gas fees and blah, blah, blah. It's been a blockchain, Arbitrum, that's already been around for a while. They just released a useless governance token. Like, that's why most of the tokens, when you hear shitcoin, for anybody that is newer to the market, it's not just that sometimes it's just a Bitcoin maxi that just thinks everything else, like even an ETH is a shitcoin. But it's actually because there's no need for these tokens. Like Arbitrum really has no use for its token. It's a governance token, and what that means is you basically vote on things for the VC backed people who bought seed rounds of Arbitrum at pennies on the dollar, what they
right,
do next, and blah blah blah. So it's just know, okay, Arbitrum, Optimism, Aptos. I'm trying to think of like other huge, the Solanas of years past. They are going to go up in price, likely. They're probably, compared to old school finance, they're going to go up in price a lot. They're not going to outpace some of the better opportunities in crypto, like Hex that we're talking about here tonight. Um, but realize that when you are dealing with a heavily VC backed token like that, they can really dump on you at any time. There's a lot more
yep,
unpredictability. You don't know who's behind it. Solana really was the example of this in the last bull cycle. Never mind the fact that the blockchain doesn't really like work or anything. And we all know that Sam Bankman-Fried obviously is the Solana man. So it's just something to watch out for, because you're going to hear this Arbitrum stuff all over the place. It's going to probably shoot up the top 15 market cap. Like these coins debut in the top 50, and all of a sudden everybody's talking about them, and there's a new airdrop like every other week and stuff. And it's just the L1 and L2, layer one and layer two narrative, I think, of the past cycle is just not one that's really going to be important this cycle. Yeah, we do need people helping out Ethereum and stuff like that. It's going to happen. Pulse Chain's another layer one that has a huge user base already coming. But you're going to get a lot of these, and I just don't think they're worth investing in. And I think it's going to be a common trap that newer people get into. Um, that we're probably not going to be able to help, influence away from it. But we can say our piece. So, what are some trends that you saw in past cycles, Ewok, that it was obviously even more scammy in past cycles, but that you knew were really more than anything out to prey on new investors?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. I mean, there's always, like you said, every cycle there's new things that try to launch before it happens. All these VCs get in, they ride it up, and then they dump on your head, and people don't sell at the right time
Hmm,
to get out too, because they've probably just entered the market. They see this thing going up. They've heard somebody talk about it, and they jump on, they ride it all the way up, and then they ride it all the way back down.
right.
It's usually how they go. We saw the same thing last cycle. The cycle before that, I remember, that was when Dash and all of these other coins, there were just a whole different batch of them. I don't remember half of them at this point anymore because they were just that insignificant. But I'm
Hmm,
sure I bought some of them here and there and did the same thing. Rode it all the way to the top. The people knew about the cycles a lot more than I did because I was uneducated in the space. And they all cashed out. But here's the thing. You got to remember that even Vitalik and those guys, they sell the tops too.
right.
They know when the top is. The Ethereum Foundation sold 300,000 Ethereum, and then made the top. So Vitalik was part of that as well. So it's not just these other coins that do that. It's a lot of them. And I'll never forget the day that Charlie Lee, who was the founder of Litecoin, did the same thing. He felt that he didn't think that he should be a major holder anymore, and he made the top as well of that cycle and just dumped on everybody's heads.
Thanks,
So
Charlie. Charlie, we appreciate you thinking you should no longer be a major holder and dumping on
yeah,
everybody.
so I mean, it's not just the little coins. It can happen everywhere, and it's one of the reasons why, I've stayed strong with Hex because I know Richard. So here's what I see, the way I see it. We talk about the early days of Bitcoin, and you and I have been talking about this, earlier, um, how centralized ownership that Bitcoin really was in the beginning. Satoshi owned a million coins, basically pre-mined it before anybody even really joined the network. And everybody comes out and be like, "Oh, that's not true. That's not true. Anybody could mine." Yeah, they could, but they didn't know about it. Meanwhile, he minted a million coins. He owned 90 some percent of it. And then he went away. Um, Richard kind of emulated everything that happened along the way with Bitcoin. And that's why he has always called, Hex the better Bitcoin. He took all these parameters of what happened then and moved them into this new coin. And again, it's another thing that leads me to believe that the OA will never sell. They've been nothing but good to the network, and benevolent as far as I'm concerned, with everything that's happened. So, you know, I hate arguing with these maxis sometimes, and I just have to like step away and say, Not even worth it to argue," because they want to say all these new shit coins have centralized ownership and Bitcoin doesn't. I'm like, well, you forget the only thing Bitcoin has going for it is time. It's got 10 years on a lot of these things. And since then, it's been diluted. So they all kind of start out that way. You have to have a centralized ownership to start out. It's just what the founders are going to do with it, whether they remain benevolent or if they dump on your head and or rug pull. So, it's just it's one of those things that you just have to really find the right thing and have to find the right person to believe in. So,
And contrary to popular belief, that's what's so funny, and exactly what you just said about the Bitcoin people is like they weren't even in Bitcoin early enough, clearly, to the Bitcoin maxis were not in early enough to even know when it was more centralized, you know. So the Bob Lucases, who I like Bob Lucas, but like those people outwardly will criticize Hex and Richard Hart and stuff like that and talk about like all the OA and everything. And it's, you know, yeah, same thing with the early days of Bitcoin. Like, contrary to popular belief, that's when you want to be getting in on an asset. Is it riskier? Yeah. Is the potential for reward much higher? Yeah. And it's like, you know, like you said, there really is no point even arguing with those people, because it's just, they are over here in a way of thinking, and we are over here. And there's just no way, you know, it's like a far right and a far left person talking. Like the two extremes that are the loudest on social media and stuff that we all just hate and don't want to deal with. Like, that's like talking to a Bitcoin maxi. That it's just who they are. They're never going to change, you know. So it is what it is. And again, I guess you got to pump your own bags a little bit too if you're them, but especially since there's diminishing returns now. So if you guys are here in the chat enjoying the stream, hit the like. We very much appreciate it. And let's get to one of our main things tonight. So Crypto Coffee, for my money, the best Hex influencer, whatever word you want to call it. He's been, you know, around for quite some time now. And what I love about his channel is just the fact that he, like, we talked to him on this show before about like how he's just kind of first to do a new tutorial for something, or, you know, he just gets stuff out there like right away. And he doesn't lose sight of the fact that there are newcomers to Hex and this ecosystem and DeFi, and to educate them, you know. And that's what's cool, because like when you do get into it so much, you get into talking about like the Hedron to Icosa you know, yield, and you know what the like the ratio of this and everything, you know, stuff that like newer people are like, what the hell are you even talking about right now? So that's what I like about Coffee. But he made a video the other day, and what I think he did was genius. And I will say, for better or worse, I do like the psychology of YouTube, what gets people to click. You know, it's kind of like sales, like titles, thumbnails. Once you start doing things on this platform, you kind of get exposed to the psychology of what people click on. It's just very interesting. And what I liked that he did the other day, and he made a point of saying this on Twitter, was that he did have a picture of Hex in the thumbnail. It wasn't a predominant picture. He did not have anything about Hex in the title at all. It was a really good title, and I purposely tonight made the title of this stream patterned after what he did. It didn't talk about Hex or DCAing or anything like that. And, you know, curiosity, fear, curiosity, two major things to use to get people to click on your content, because, you know, people are curious. Like once they get clued into something, they want to see what it is you're talking about. And in Coffee's case, he made a great video about DCAing into Hex since the beginning, the math behind it, with $100 investments on a certain amount of time schedule. I just think it was great. Like, he purposely made it not Hex-ish in the title to bring new people in, which is a great idea.
Yeah.
Talk to me though about the actual content of the video. And I know your friend Sami talked a little bit about what Coffee was saying as well, that you sent me a quote in a tweet the other day. But talk about the power of what Coffee was talking about with that DCA method, and what has been possible DCAing into Hex in this example, and what's likely going to be possible for that over the next few years.
Yeah. The one point that was made was Coffee said, if you DCA'd $100 from the beginning of Hex every week, like clockwork, didn't matter what the price was, but DCA $100 into Hex, right now you would be a millionaire. That's the power of DCA. And again, didn't matter what the price was, but it was consistency. Now, I don't know if that included gas fees, because I know during the height of the bull market, $100 might have covered your gas.
Yes.
So, but just in token amount, minus, you know, obviously minus gas fees, whatever buying $100 of the token would have been, it might have cost you a little bit more. So, you know, we do have a little bit of wiggle room for those people that want to be analytically, or
Right.
whatever. If you want to be
Really, yeah.
really correct about it, it would have cost you a little bit more. But the point is $100 in Hex coin, Hex token. So yeah, you'd be a millionaire right now. So, it just goes to show you that again, that DCA strategy is still one of the best out there. It doesn't matter, um, what you try to do, playing the markets up, playing the markets down, usually doesn't come out the best for you, at least not as good as a DCA strategy. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, just $100 a week seems pretty manageable for most people.
Yeah, and overall that'd be $17,000 from that point until now, which
Yeah,
I
and that was
mean,
3 years ago. So,
exactly. And I was going to
you
say,
know,
like, over that amount of time, I think that should be manageable for most people. I mean, like,
yeah,
obviously depends on your income and if it's not where you want it to be. I mean, there's obviously different avenues you can try to go down to increase that. And then, obviously my channel is a lot about how you can leverage your expenses,
yeah.
limiting those and living at least as a tool, a temporary tool. Because the point isn't to be like minimalistic forever. Like the point isn't to be eating like rice and beans and driving 10-year-old car forever. It's
Right.
supposed to be a tool to get you to that self sovereignty. So hey, if you're somebody who is too much of a bitch, frankly, to do that for a few years to get to where you want to be, um, okay, have fun staying the way you are. I just think that an extreme life with extreme goals requires extreme short term sacrifice,
Right.
and
Yep.
delaying of gratification, which we're going to get to even more in a minute. And that's really what Hex is all about. I mean, like that's really what I think Richard wanted to create and get people out of trading and create a large incentive to lock up and mine your own tokens, burn your own tokens, whatever you want to say,
Well, yeah.
for a good amount of time,
Yeah.
of your choosing too. I mean, you
Sure.
interact with a smart contract and do what you want to do.
Right. Well, it goes back to one of his pillars, and that is delayed gratification. It kind of goes right into the poll that you're taking,
Yeah.
that people just don't they don't think about it, man. Delayed gratification can be so powerful as well. You just sit back and that's another reason why I could have retired, at the end of this last cycle, but I didn't, because I wanted to delay it. I wanted to be a little bit more comfortable, and I didn't have a problem delaying that gratification for just a few more years. So
Mhm.
it's you know way underrated. Is that the best way I can really say it?
Yeah, and that is a perfect segue. That's why I wanted to get into that poll immediately now. And the results that we are seeing here in the chat tonight are exactly the same percentage splits as in the community poll I did on YouTube earlier. And yeah, it's insane. So just to restate it, what is your crypto investment time horizon? Plain and simple. Now, I guess there's different ways that you could interpret that sentence. I mean, to me, that would clearly mean what is the how long do I plan on being invested in crypto in this space, in this bubble, whatever it is you want to call it, for how long? Because everything is a bubble. It's just different amounts of time. You know, how long are you going to be here until you consider yourself like self-sovereign? And the choices were 2 to 3 years, 4 to 8 years, which would indicate 1 to 2 cycles, or 8+ years, which would indicate 2+ cycles. Um, by far the majority is 2 to 3 years at like 50%. The other two are just about split at about 20-25%. I seriously,
Mm.
like, I forgot that I made the poll. I checked it a couple hours later and was just blown away. I don't know. And we talked about this in the intro, and we can get to this, but like, if the people that are answering it are just, kind of randos on YouTube that don't watch us or my channel or anything very much, and just, are watching those big influencers and just have this like lottery ticket mentality. I mean, clearly they have a lottery ticket mentality, but I don't understand what the expectation is. As somebody commented on that poll earlier, like 2 to 3 years, no wonder everybody gets wrecked. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You give where's your wiggle room? You don't have any wiggle room. You need to hit a home run this cycle. And to me, by saying time horizon is 2 to 3 years, that means you just started getting into the market. So that doesn't, otherwise you'd have had a few years already in this and you would have had a longer time horizon.
Right.
So, I mean, look, I mean, if that's what your answer is, if the only way I could see answering that is if you're like on the precipice of your third cycle right now, and I can guarantee nobody in that poll or hardly anyone is on the precipice of their third cycle.
Well, not if they answered 2 to 4 years.
No, I just can't imagine. I'm saying like 2 to 3 years from this very moment.
Right.
So yeah, I can't imagine that somebody is like already like, yeah, I'm just about there. I just need one more cycle. I can't imagine that's what's happening to these people. I think that they think that that's what's going to happen in this cycle. And maybe it will. I mean, like maybe it'll be enough for them, but you're really not giving yourself a lot of wiggle room. And unless you have like this huge windfall of cash that you're putting in, which again, I doubt as many of these people,
Right.
I just think you're going to be sorely, just very disappointed.
Yeah.
And yeah. So what's your take on that? I mean, I was really shocked. I am shocked. I don't know. Weird.
I completely agree with you. I think I had said it earlier too, was the whole lottery ticket mentality. People see people getting rich in crypto. They think they put it in 1 week, took it out a month later, and had a Lambo. And it's just not the case. It's with anything. Yes, the volatility is crazy, but with that comes the downside too. So yeah, it's not even fathomable to think that 2 or 3 years is going to be enough time to get in, get out, and be done, and retire, and be set for life. That's most of our goal, is to buy back our time, right? And so we have the time with our family, and be able to do the things and travel, and not really care, not punch a time clock anymore, start businesses and do the things that we actually enjoy and love doing. Meanwhile, being able to do that wherever we are. So, I think for me, well, everybody's goal is different, but that's my goal personally, is to not have to work for somebody else, to start a business that's, sustainable, and I can do it wherever I want. And if I don't feel like it that day, then I don't have to. That's the idea of buying your time, and get the time freedom back. So yeah, it's the lottery ticket mentality. Unfortunately, you probably got a lot of random people just scrolling through YouTube and answered it, and they may not have even been in crypto, and they just don't even understand it. So that could be part of it too.
It may be, but yeah, it's just, to me, yeah, this is all about crypto. I get it. Like, we're not sitting here saying, oh yeah, I'm just in it for the tech, but like, you are in it though for like a self-sovereign lifestyle. And many people that are into crypto are here with that libertarian mindset, and building something, like you said, building something for yourself so you can actually have a free life, spend it with the people you love, your family, and create something else to help better the world on your own.
Yeah.
And I think that requires a long-term plan with specifics and focus. I just went ahead and linked a video and interview that I watched the entirety of earlier today, that I sent you a clip of, Ewok, because it really inspired me. And, I'm not really into like, that's an understatement. I hate like life coach guru stuff and everything. I don't think that Alex Hermosi, who is the guest on the video that I just shared, really fits that bill. I think he is far different than that, even though he may have a lot of YouTube videos out there. He's certainly no Ty Lopez or anything.
Right.
But I would check that out, and it's an interview with Tom Bellew. And yeah, there was a section in it that I sent you earlier today, where he just really broke down like the power of having a 10-year mindset like that, and a 10-year plan. And if you are able to delay gratification and continue working at, the key that he said is continue working towards that ultimate goal without seeing the fruits of your labor right there that day, like living in that doubt for that long, you're going to succeed tenfold,
Yeah.
and because nobody has that. I mean,
Right.
everybody has weak hands. Like you said, everybody has the lottery ticket mentality, and, they just aren't strong enough mentally to do any of this stuff. So I would implore anybody watching, check out that interview. It's freaking awesome. It's like an hour and a half, but I really enjoyed it. I don't remember when it
Yeah.
was
So
from,
what you
but
sent me was just a clip then.
It was. Oh yeah, it's
Okay,
a longer interview. But
gotcha.
that to me though, I mean, that was one where I stopped, went back, listened to it again, clipped
Gotcha,
it, sent it to you.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
But
cool.
yeah. But I don't know. What do you think foster? I mean, I guess it's just like the memes that you're seeing, or maybe like the fake people on Twitter that have a Lambo or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, it's all because I bought this at blah blah blah. Like, um, I don't know, man, because to me, if you're saying your time horizon is 2 to 3 years, like everybody's an individual. I'm not trying to shit on anybody. But like if you first off have a number in your head that you feel that you need to attain wealth wise to be self sovereign. Okay. If you're saying 2 to 3 years, I'm guessing that's just, and I don't mean to act like this is nothing, but just $1 million. Okay. That's what I'm guessing it is. And if that's your plan, I hope you're putting a 6-figure clip into the market right now. Like that, yeah, and still, I mean, yeah, you're gonna
Yeah,
that's better returns than anywhere else in the world. But
sure.
it's like I don't know if these people really understand what $1 million is, what it can get you, and what it would take to get into crypto now to get that.
Or how
What it takes.
little, how not so far that it goes. A
Exactly. Yes.
million
Exactly.
dollars doesn't get you very far, honestly. I mean, I I suppose you could live very frugally and retire on $1 million, but are you going to pay taxes? Because half of it's gone right there. If you are,
Hmm.
are you going to go to a country that doesn't have taxes or that you can kind of hide? Well, that may be an option as well. But yeah, $1 million just doesn't go as far as people seem to think it does.
Yeah.
You get that mindset of the people that were never rich before, especially who just start blowing it. The lottery winner mentality, and how many of them go broke in a very short period of time.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. I know somebody who won the lottery and a substantial amount that still works an overnight shift at a like convenience store right now. So
right.
yeah, there's it's out there. I don't think people really
Yeah.
understand that amount of money. But anyway, that's kind of the soapbox. I'm just surprised by those poll results. Um, yeah, I mean, I think you and I, both of us, whenever we would have gotten into this, although at different times, definitely were thinking, you know, up to a decade or so. Like I'm here not only because we have realistic expectations, but because I love, obviously we love this space. That's why we're doing this. We're
Yeah.
talking about it. We're also interested in it. We're in it
Sure.
for the gains. We're in it for the tech. We're in it for everything. So yeah, just amazed me. But
Yeah.
something we'll continue to explore, I'm sure, as the year goes on. But what we can hit up Andrew's question here if you wanted to do
Yeah, I
that.
was just waiting until we were done with that topic. We really haven't talked about this too much, but a very good site, Andrew and everybody, is actually called hexdailystats.com. It gives you way more information than you really need for anything. It covers the multipliers, the payout per T share price, T share rate. And then if you scroll all the way over here, um, change in holders. So you can see over time, how the numbers have changed. This day it went up by 637 and 400. So each day, we're either growing or yeah, I think we're growing just about every day. It's just
Hmm.
by how much. This day we lost 7. Sorry. These couple of days we lost a few. But 60, 38, 77, 45, 21. So we're gradually growing. And yeah, check out this site. It's called hexdailystats.com. So that's really
Yep.
all I wanted to touch on. Just give people some information to get what they need.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we've gone there a couple of times before to kind of look at data. So definitely great stuff on there.
Yeah.
Um, Parlaying off that a little bit and talking about a way that many people view their hex investments every single day is the Staker app, which
Hmm.
we haven't. I mean, we don't really talk about it much on here, just because I don't know what's the point. I guess maybe we could. That's one of those things where, when it comes to educating newer people that might be onboarding or getting into hex, making sure they understand the Staker app, I think it's a good thing. It's a nice, easy way to view everything in one place. Pretty sleek app, but basically what the Staker app is, if you're not familiar, is just an app, obviously, that you can connect any wallet that you have Hex in to and view all of your stakes. So if you do have, you know, how degen are we? 10 MetaMasks or something.
Yep.
Maybe not degen, maybe just secure actually.
Right. Yeah, I
But
was going to
if
say it's not a
right,
bad thing.
yeah, if you have that many, connect them all on Staker so you can see everything right there. So you're not like, okay, I got a staking ladder here, I got one over here, so you're not clueless about what your investments look like. But anyway, there is an update. There's a new version of the Staker app, and it's interesting because, basically leading up to it, I mean, everybody was really excited. And now today, I actually see some split from some people about the way that it looks. Ewok, I know everybody was amped about it, but David Fader, who is a really interesting guy, I think you probably have seen more of his material than I have. But he was on Twitter a little bit earlier saying that he was like extremely disappointed in it, actually. And one point I think he made that was good that I agree with was the shilling or the posting of like some other shit coins on the front of it. Let me just say real quick and I'll let you go. He said, "It's a sad day for crypto. Staker app V2 is not what I expected. Here's my constructive criticism on what to fix. Number one, shit coins listed on homepage. Remove that. Number two, limit on external wallet tracking. Remove the limit. Agree with that. Three, missing Hedron, Icosa staking, add it." And then I think he probably talks some more, but that's the main point. But what do you make of it? What do you make of David's response to it?
Well, couple things. I kind of agree with the shit coins, but if we want to onboard other communities, you want to get them in somehow, right? You've got to get them in front of Hex. And how do you do that? Well, you include the coin that they have, whether it's Shiba Inu or Doge or Bitcoin or whatever it is. You have to include it. I'm sorry, and people aren't going to want to hear that. And you can't interact with that stuff on. I don't think. Maybe you can, but I'm not sure. But yeah, you don't want to hit them right on the front page of it. Maybe that wasn't the front page. I'm not sure. Either way, Staker app has more functions than just being a MetaMask monitor for your stakes, though. There is a Gnosis Safe Wallet functionality that is also built into that, where you can do all of your stakes and unstakes and things like that built right in. So that is part of the premium package, right? You do have to pay a little bit more for the Gnosis Safe. I think it's a couple bucks, maybe $5-10 to get that functionality. But the argument with that then is you don't have access to your Hedron stuff. You can't mint it without exposing your private keys into another the Gnosis Safe platform where you would import everything to be able to claim that. And I think that's why a lot of people were upset that he was talking about supporting Zen, but not talking about supporting Hedron and Icosa.
Oh, I didn't know that. No
Yeah,
wonder. No
so
wonder. I didn't
that's
know this.
why you're seeing a lot of saltiness right now. So we all know, so Steph and Firebun are the creators of Staker app. They've been working tirelessly and doing all this pretty much for free. I know they make a little bit in fees because there is, with the Gnosis Safe, there's a way to pay your gas fees in whatever you want. So you can pay them in USDC, you can pay them in Hex, you can pay them in ETH. So it's a neat thing where they kind of prepay the fee and then charge it out of your account with whatever token you want. So it doesn't have to be Ethereum. You can pay your gas fee with Hex if you want. So anyway, there's all this stuff that was created with the Gnosis Safe. However, it was missing a couple things, and I do believe they thought version 2 would maybe integrate those, but again, as I kind of started to say and lost track train of thought. We know Steph has been a perpetual Hedron dumper. He dumps it. He claims that, he had flat out admits it. Every time he gets it, he mints it and sells it. So he's not a holder of it, and I don't know why he's not a big fan. But I did see a comment from Alex and said, just when I thought we didn't need another product, well, looks like I'm adding something to my to-do list.
I did see that.
So he might be actually coming out with something. There was another guy who I can't even remember the name of the site at the moment because I didn't get a chance to check it out. But there's another site that kind of does the same thing. Now, I don't know if they have a mobile version. But the good thing about Staker is being on the Gnosis safe. It is very secure. It does have a 24-word seed phrase. There's a lot of security with it. But again, it was lacking a couple things. So be it. People get upset over some really weird things, when people are putting stuff out. And if you don't like it, you kind of just don't use it, right? I mean, that's the mentality of, if you don't like what's on TV, turn the channel. I don't understand why people get upset when things are free. The other thing they were upset about is now I think you can only monitor a couple wallets. So if you had those 10 wallets of 10 MetaMask addresses, as a regular user, you can only monitor maybe 1 to 5 or something like that as a regular user. Yeah. Premium users can monitor up to 20 or 25. So, again, $2, $3, $5, whatever it may be, get yourself a Gnosis wallet if you really want to monitor that many from your cell phone or design something yourself. That's kind of where it's at right now. And, I do appreciate David Feeder. He's always been a good part of the community. He's always been very technically savvy, puts out videos himself. He's very smart. Met him in Vegas, spent quite a bit of time talking to him and hanging out with him. He's a good guy. So, I respect his opinion. So some of the things were a little bit lacking. I do agree with him, though. Before you add all these other crazy crap coins, add your Hedron and Icosa. There are people that, would definitely use it. So now that that's been brought up, we'll see if they integrate it in a newer update. But yeah, V2 should be rolling out soon. I know Android started to roll it out, and I got an alert saying that the iOS version would be out fairly soon too, hopefully in another week or so.
Sweet. Yeah, the more I think of it, I do agree with you on the other coins on the front page. Yeah. It kind of is the same thing as the bigger influencers suddenly starting to talk about Hex. Hey, you have to welcome these people with open arms. Like, everybody sees the light and sees what real crypto and real DeFi is eventually. So yeah, you gotta have bridges there. So I do want to finish off today. We've been for a running couple of weeks wanting to get into this because even I recently really had my eyes open to like some of the crazy yield, more so with the Icosa that you earn after you stake Hedron for Icosa. But I do want to talk about Hedron here a bit since we just brought it up with the Staker app. We just had Ran asking in the chat about how we feel about Hedron long term. I first off would just say that in terms of things that have been built on top of Hex so far, Hedron, I think, takes the cake 10 times over. I think Alex, you mentioned him earlier, Ewok, Alex McWhorter, unbelievably smart dude. He's the one that created Hedron and Icosa. And it's a great invention because, I mean, it really did add extra stickiness to like the Hex long-term smart contract. You get Hedron and you can mint it, during your active Hex stakes. You can also, of course, now buy Hedron on the open market, which I have done a lot of as well, to accrue it. But what it does is basically gives some fluidity to your Hex stakes, where, not that there are many problems with Hex. It is what it is. It's a smart contract. But one of them, of course, is, if you made a mistake or realized down the road you didn't want to stake something out as long as you did or whatever, those usually are not liquid. And Hedron kind of solves some of that problem. But can you talk a little bit about your long-term visions for Hedron Ewok, and talk about the yield as well, because on it's Icosa dot pro. Is that what it is?
It's
Icosa dot pro. App.
app.icosa.pro is the newest website that has the Hedron, has the Icosa all built into it, along with the auctions. So there's a lot more to Hedron than just get it when you
Right.
create a stake. So that is how you get it originally. If you're not going to buy it on the open market, when you create a native hex stake, um, the timer starts to go, and you earn the shares times the days, and that kind of equates to how much Hedron you're going to get. Now,
Mhm.
back in the early days, there was a multiplier out there, so if you got it in on the first day and you went in and claimed at that point, you locked in the multiplier, and many of us did a lot of very big stakes, very long, and locked them in at 10x. So originally, Hedron was oversupplied. Okay, there was a bunch of supply, and I think I had mentioned to you, like, they've got to figure out how to do something to get rid of some of this. The only solution at that time was that if somebody tokenized their hex stake and took a loan out against it, um, if that was not paid back, that went up for auction. The only way to buy that auction was with Hedron. When you
Mhm.
bought it off of auction, the Hedron gets burned. Okay, so that was really the only burning mechanism to get rid of some of that massive supply. And time went on, things started to kind of evolve, and there's been a lot of auctions, uh, and I don't know who made them. It could have been a combination of just everybody, but there are also people playing the system too. There is a kind of a circular methodology that can happen, where when
I think it's called a
you
circle jerk. I don't
well,
know if
not
that's
really a
correct.
circle jerk, but it's a there's if you funnel in, Hex, or not Hex, Crypto Sloth is one of the guys who talks about Hedron and Icosa in depth a lot. So he is a
Mhm.
good source to get information from, regarding these. But there are people that will stake Hex, take out the loan, tokenize it, then they switch it in for um, the Hedron, get the Icosa, turn it back into, so there's a way to do it. If all the conditions are right, you can perpetually make money just doing that whole thing. So you have to really look into it. I don't want to give advice on that, but the APY for staking the Hedron is paid in Icosa. Okay.
Right.
Then you can stake your Icosa and earn yield in more Icosa and Hedron. So, that's part of the whole thing too, is then once you get the Icosa, then you stake it and you can earn crazy rewards with it. And the Icosa is, I haven't checked it in a few days, but I know it was up around 60 cents or something like that each. So in order, if you're getting these at that crazy APY and earning them, they're holding their price pretty well.
Mhm.
Seems like people are just staking them and not selling a whole lot of it, which I can see a lot of positive for both coins as time goes on, as some of these big bonuses get out of the system and flushed out. That's when I really think that Hedron will probably take off. It's a longer term project a little bit, but it has had, I think, it's bottomed. The price has definitely bottomed,
Oh yeah.
and it's seeing some nice charting right now. So that's my long term take on Hedron. It is a longer term project, but everything that's tied to it, man, it's a pretty cool ecosystem. And Alex is a very smart dude.
Yeah, Icosa sitting right around 71 cents right now. Hedron, at last look, last I knew was about whatever you want to call this number, 5 zeros and a 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has hit its bottom because it went the whole way down to about 5 zeros 0.11 or something. I mean, it
I
went
think it was at
way down.
6 zeros at one point.
It may have been for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I bought almost a dead nut low. I remember
Good
on
for
both
you.
Hex and Hedron. But yeah, it's at 5 zeros 2 6 right now. But yeah, the all-time high is almost at 5 zeros and a 7. So I mean, we're right now over a 2x off the all-time high. And remember, Hedron's only been out for just over a year. It was actually March of 2022.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we were in
I think
Vegas. We were in Vegas at
uh,
the conference whenever all of that stuff kind of started, and I was sitting in the hotel room claiming my bonuses. I remember.
mhm. Yeah, the multiplier. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
10x multiplier at first. Yeah, I think Hedron's going to run really, really hard. And I think, yeah, as more people come to the ecosystem, and of course with Pulse Chain launching as well, people will really realize the value of that. And yeah, kudos to Alex for really being the first kind of pioneer to build something that was really, really great and useful on top of Hex. And I think it takes a lot of balls to do that too, because, especially with a guy like Richard running the show of Hex, you want to make sure that if you're messing around, because there's been a lot of crap too, of course.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're really introducing something that is going to help it out, especially when so many people consider Hex to be like, the premier invention as far as crypto goes. So,
Yeah.
yeah, kudos to him. Very, very cool stuff. And yeah, definitely involved in Hedron and Icosa for sure. And the last thing I was going to say, what is the yield that you can get when you actually stake your Icosa? Isn't the yield for more Icosa and or Hedron like crazy at that point? Or the
Yeah, and I don't
Icosa for
I
Icosa
I
yield?
don't know what the percentage is, but yeah, I think I had a couple thousand Icosa staked and I earned a couple thousand. So, you're looking at close to 100% APY as far as I can remember anyway. You have
Yeah.
to go on the website. I'm sure I think it varies. It really depends on how much I forget what the variables are. Um
Yeah, it goes up and down.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does fluctuate. So yeah, again, I don't know what causes it or why. I should probably learn that, but
It's very high either way, though. It's a
yeah.
crazy amount of yield.
Yeah.
So, and the nice thing about this too is it's very simple to earn yield on those. It's not even, with Hex, you kind of have to learn the game theory of like doing a staking ladder and however you want to set it up and all that. With these,
You
depending upon the amount of Hedron you have, it's kind of
right.
just like, what's your term?
And
You
you
only
can
get
only do one stake. You only per
right.
wallet anyway. If you have one wallet, you can only do one stake. Now you can add to it, and when you add to it, it resets the timer again. So back to the beginning. So that's some game theory added in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome stuff though. Yeah. Both of us hardcore long-term believers in Hedron and Icosa and what Alex has done there. So
Yeah.
yeah, great stuff. I think that just about wraps us up tonight. Good stream as always. Thank you to everybody in the chat. If you're still here and dug the stream, hit the like. We very much appreciate it. We do this every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and always like to have thought-provoking stuff and kind of go a little bit deeper than maybe your average stream or just looking at news stuff and things like that. We really like to delve deep, and quite frequently you're talking about DeFi, Hex, some of our favorite DeFi projects. So, Ewok, any final thoughts from you that you want to leave to everybody tonight?
No, man, I think we covered it. Like I said, delayed gratification is really where it's
Yeah.
at, and I don't think it gets enough attention. But if you want long-term gains, you've got to have that long time horizon as well. So, big
Mhm.
gains, long time. So, time is the winner here, and hang in there. We're getting there.
Time is the asset, really. I mean, that's what everybody is really going after, and what we all have a finite amount of. So I would implore everybody, like, check out that Alex Hermosi interview with Tom Bilyeu I shared earlier in the chat. I think it's, is a nice, it's not about crypto in any way, but it's about, sometimes we need these like mindset resets. I know I did definitely recently. That's kind of what I said to you today. Just to kind of like get your head a little bit back in the game, because even though we may all be on this journey and have these specific goals, you can easily lose sight of those sometimes when you're in just the muck, just the everyday kind of, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing this. You get kind of lost in the motions and forget about where you're headed. And I don't know. I think you need to press the reset button every once in a while and get yourself remotivated again. So, check it
Ren
out.
thinks we should do a stream during the day. Lots more viewers around working times. Well, actually, we're still working during those times. So
True.
maybe.
And don't tell me what to do, Ren. No, I'm just kidding. I would actually love to. I was actually thinking the other day, with us talking about like, having more time on your hands and stuff like that. That my ideal time would be like 10 a.m. or something. Like I've had a cup of coffee, I've worked out, I'm buzzing. I want to go then. That's when I ideally would do it, actually.
Sure.
But
well, maybe we'll try to schedule one, and we'll pick a day, and I'll just say I'm not working that day, and there we go.
There you go. Maybe we'll do a special day stream eventually. It is, I don't know if you can hear it, but it is absolutely downpouring outside here right now. So kind of interesting. But yeah, that's going to wrap us up. We appreciate all of you guys watching. We will catch you next Wednesday. Yeah, same time, same channel, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for my co-host Crypto Ewok, this has been Broke Boy Crypto right here on the Creed of Crypto podcast. HexPassiveIncome.com. My friend Crypto Coffee has created what I think is probably the best course for a new cryptocurrency investor. Not only that, but these courses usually charge an arm and a leg. Crypto Coffee is only charging $200. I think right now he actually has a discount for $150. I have a link below in the description. If you are new to crypto, do not understand Hex and how it works, click the link below. It's a quick, easy course. He only gives you the basics. I personally, myself, have thought about creating an intro to crypto course in the past. I don't think there's any reason to do so because Matt, Crypto Coffee, has already taken care of that. And I don't think anything needs to be added by anybody else. So check it out. The link is in the description and sign up to Hex Passive Income today.